Well, first of all, last year you couldn't come to this because you had other family obligations. Yeah. So you're back at it this year. Just general thoughts on coming into the meeting this year.
Yeah, that was a crazy day. We were in South Africa last year with a big Clemson group, and the dates had gotten swapped. So anyway, it was a crazy time. But I stayed connected the whole time, with all my coaching buds. But good to be back. Excited to be here. We've got a lot going on, obviously, and a lot that we'll, I'm sure, discuss over these next couple of days and see where it goes.
Yeah, a lot's changed in the last 2 years since you've been here. Obviously the lawsuit going on. I know there's stuff you can't say about that, obviously, but how different is it knowing, coming in with all these kind of things going on right now?
Yeah, I mean, this is I think whatever part that you have in college football right now, whether you're in my seat, your seat, whatever role you're in, it's there's just an enormous amount of changes, and if you don't like it, well, just wait a day or so. It's like the weather; it'll change again. So it's just a lot of changes going on, and there's so much right now that whether it's competitive stuff from a football standpoint or legislative stuff. I mean, there's just never in my lifetime has there been this amount of issues or things that just aren't settled. I think we're heading in a good direction, but we just you kind of got to go through it. There's a lot of storms out there, and I would say if you're not anchored in the right stuff and the right type of foundation, probably going to get washed away. Good news for us at Clemson, we got a great foundation. We're anchored to the right things, and I think when it all comes, the other good thing about storms is eventually the sun's going to come back out, and you get to a good situation. And I think that's where we'll be. But right now we're just kind of all navigating the winds of change, and so some will do that better than others, and we'll see where it all goes. But my focus is really just. And I think that's very important, is really focusing on what you control. And really, for me, that's just focusing on Clemson and making sure that, we do what we need to do, within the walls of our organization, our players, our staff, all those type of things. And so a lot going on, but we'll just see where it goes.
Dabo, in today's world, it's unusual to just lose a couple of players to the portal. I know a couple of years ago you lost nobody.
Yep.
This year just 2 players. Why do you think you guys are able to keep so many players at Clemson?
Yeah, I think that's just I don't want to lose any, but in context, it's really remarkable. I mean, it really is. I mean, and two young guys that weren't going to play this year, but had they stuck with it, I think they could have turned into good players. That's why we signed them. But it's not everybody wants to be patient or whatever it is, and fit whatever. And because opportunity has been created where we've kind of made it, very easy to move on. You see a lot of movement in college football. So with that context, to just have 2 guys, leave, and rarely do we have a guy leave without a degree. I think it's remarkable, and I think it's a testament to the people that we have in place there, our culture, how we go about things, our process, on the front end, and then how we handle the day-to-day at Clemson. So, I mean, it's pretty amazing. And, we've got 84 guys on scholarship, and, we there's a lot of people that are having to run kids off, to create room because they've oversigned and things like that, and we haven't. And nobody talks about the fact that we had the highest graduation rate in college football and the highest that's been recorded in the past 20 years. So there's a lot of good things going on. We're still very, very much purpose-driven at Clemson, and in this world of transaction, if you will, we're still a very transformational program, and I think kids they love that and they feel that, and they're having great success and doing a lot of things. We've had a lot of guys drafted. We've won a bunch of games. I mean, even this past few years, we've won 30 games in 3 years. Won a postseason game 3 years in a row, an ACC championship, 2 bowl games. There's a lot of teams. There's very few teams that can say they've done that, even though so-called, we didn't make the Final Four. It's hard to make Final Four. So, we like where our team is, and we've been kind of a developing group these last couple of years with some guys, but guys have hung in there. And, they see their opportunity. They believe in Clemson. They believe in, who we are. And I think that's what drives all that. And we're certainly not immune to some of the craziness out there, but I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, we're probably a 3. And that's, but so you manage things as they come. But we like our roster. I mean, we really do. We like, and it's not just me walking in the room and saying, boom, here we go. I mean, our coaches are very involved. We have a lot of ownership, and each one of these coaches feel really good about where we are, and we just got to put it together, have a great summer, and get a little luck with some injuries this year, and certainly going to be a tough schedule, but it's always tough.
Today or this past week, so we've seen a lot of stories come out about the new rule with I'm going to help players get revenue sharing. It's part of what's going on, like they're trying to settle that. Your thoughts on that, and then also there's parts about how it could affect scholarships maybe. Your thoughts on that. Do you know any of that? What can you tell me?
Yeah, I have no idea. I think it's just a big pot of clay. and I don't think anybody really knows, but what can come out of it hopefully will be something great. But there's a lot of hands on the clay right now. That's probably the best way I could describe it. But the biggest thing I think as coaches, you just want to have some rules. Mm-hmm. Right now we don't really have any rules. We don't really have any type of level playing field. Throughout college football. I think that's probably the biggest thing. It's kind of a one-way deal right now, and so from a roster management standpoint, it's crazy. And again, I haven't had quite the same issues as some of the other people going around. I'm just lucky because I've been here, and we're as I said, we're kind of anchored and established. If I took a job somewhere today, I mean, I'd have to do it completely different because half the team would leave, and so it just is what it is, and so. We've been able to still recruit really, really good players, develop them, retain them, and we don't have a lot of guys leave, without a degree. So it's just it's a different time. But I don't know where it's all going to go. Who knows? I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about some of that stuff these next couple of days. But I'm all for some type of order. I think everybody wants some type of order because right now there isn't any. And the NFL has some order. We don't really have any really rules right now when it comes to the major things that are affecting college football. So hopefully that big pot of clay, there'll be a lot of good things come out of it because I do think we're heading in a good direction, and I think it'll be much better for the players. And but right now it's just kind of a free-for-all.
One of the things they're talking about is possibly getting rid of walk-ons and only having 85 total players. Somebody that preaches walk-ons, the Hunter Renfros of the world. I'm assuming the Dabo Swinney. I'm assuming you would like to speak on that topic.
Yeah, I mean, I literally just heard that for the first time the other day, and I can say that's probably the worst thing I've heard since 1988. Mm-hmm. Everything that's happened in my entire career since 1988, it's probably the worst thing I've ever heard. And I certainly wouldn't be here if I didn't have an opportunity to go chase my dream and prove that I could do something. And I just that is probably another lawsuit. Everybody talks about lawsuits and all that stuff. That's probably another one that'll be coming down the pipe. So you understand roster sizes and things like that. That's always been the case, but to not have an opportunity for a young person to go to a school that they want to go and go, accept the challenge of paying your way and trying to compete at a certain level, that's truly sad. And so hopefully if that's in that pot of clay, that gets thrown out. But I don't know. Who knows? I mean, that's I literally just heard that. That's the first time I've ever heard that. Was last week, and that honestly, that would be a really, really sad thing.
with the, you mentioned the changes and stuff earlier. When you go into a recruit's house and they ask you these questions we're asking you, how do you answer that? Because you just said, some of that stuff, it's part of play. I don't know the answers to. But obviously the moms and the dads and the players are asking you these same questions. How do you handle that?
Yeah, just the same thing. Right now we just focus on what we control. And, I think, if the answers that you had last year are different than they are this year. I mean, we're just in this crazy time of very, very rapid, unsustainable change. Like just things and that's why it's not sustainable in certain areas, some of the change we have, so then it changes again, and then it changes again. And so, but I think, we're heading into a good place. I know it's complete chaos right now, but I think that we'll come out the other side, and we'll have a good situation for everyone, for all of college football, for the players, for the coaches, the fans, everybody. We're just not quite there yet, so you just gotta, hang on and trust the people that you're invested, that you're with, that they're going to be invested in making sure that you have a chance to be successful, that you have a great college experience. So I guess to answer your question is, regardless of what's going on, the purpose hasn't changed for us. It changed 1 second, not one word. It's about graduation. It's about equipping them as men. It's about having a good experience, and it's about winning a championship. That's been what it's been about since 2009, and 2024 is still about that. A lot of other stuff has changed, and there's a lot of other challenges that come with that, but as far as how you go about doing it, but that purpose is still the same. And my purpose as a man is still the same. So that's the answer.
Last question, I need to run. Speaking of walk-ons, you got one that's quarterback that's played very well, Pman. How do you see him, does his role change heading into camp, or obviously he had an impressive spring game? And you saw him at Daniel for years.
Yeah.
A lot of people may not realize, how good a prospect he really is.
Yeah, that's why we tried to get him to come, he was a really good player. Saw him every game that he played, and won a couple championships and a couple of high accolades, postseason awards and things like that. And so that's why we got him here, and that's why we didn't go take a quarterback, because we really like our roster. We've got another preferred walk-on coming in, but we feel really good about Cade. We feel great about CV. We feel great about Trent and his development. He's still developing. He lacks some things that you'd like, but he makes up for it in other areas, and he's just a really good player. And his role's already changed, because he went from just being the scout team guy to actually getting a chance to get some reps. And same thing for CV. He went from just watching and being and mentally really trying to get the system down to now a chance to go compete in the spring. And those guys did a great job. They really did, all of them, and really proud of where they are. And got a big summer ahead, but and then we'll add Ethan when he gets here. So we think it's a good room. I know last time we won the national championship, our third team guy was Hunter Renfro. So I definitely think Pman is a step above Hunter when it comes to quarterback. And our fourth team was Will Spire. So, and we found a way to have a great year that year with just Trevor and Chase. We got a lot of work to do, but we like the guys in the room.